Welcome to the UK OCR Community Podcast, presented by Obstacle Racing Media. Each episode, we'll be talking to race directors, elite runners, weekend warriors, and frankly, anyone else from the UK OCR scene that will talk to us. Here is your host, Alan, aka Muddy Duck.
Anywhere in Chicken Town. The bloody scene is bloody sad. The bloody news is bloody bad.
Fellow Northerner, Michelle Carney, welcome to the podcast. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, thanks, mate. How are you?
I'm absolutely brilliant. I'm absolutely buzzing. I'm buzzing to get you back on. You know, we've had you on quite a few times. As you said before we even started recording, like, this is the first time we're going to have you on as, like, a bit of a boss representative. But really, we're just friends just chatting, aren't we? I mean,
we are, yeah.
Whether we talk boss or whether we talk all else, it's just me and you. Just chatting, yeah.
And I'll come on either as me or as a Tough Mudder ambassador, but I'm kind of officially representing Boss this time, which is a first for me. And I only do my boss stuff hiding away in the background.
I don't know. And we're going to talk about Endurance League because you've been involved in this from start, you know, from the very start. I remember you messaging me and saying to me, Alan, does Farmyard want to be in Endurance League? And I'm thinking to myself, why are you asking me if Farmyard wants to be in Endurance League? So I went, why? And then you go, because I'm organising it. And I was like, oh, wow.
I'm organising it. And after being there last year, I thought it might be good, innit?
Yeah. And hence Farmyard got in it.
Yeah.
So I don't think we would have been in there. But Endurance League's back. This last weekend, we had the first race of the 2026 season. So I thought we'd quickly give a shout out to the winners of last year. And then talk about this year's events and a little bit of the mix-up in terms of there's a new point system. So I know a lot of people talking about it. So we're going to come to that in a bit and we're going to try and explain it a little bit because I was like really against it. You know, you messaged me and said little things and I was against it and then you explained it to me. And now I'm like, I think we need to get this out to people before, I guess, the negativity sets in about it. So
Absolutely.
Keep listening, listener, and we'll explain it all to you and how it's going to work and why it works. Because I've been turned, I'm a convert. So first of all, let's talk about last year's events, the winners. So where shall we go to? Do you want to go to men's or women's first?
Shall we do men's first? Because they're the ones I've got in front of me.
Let's go men's first. Amazing results. Top three, absolutely fantastic. Dassos Ganella taking it. 3 wins.
Absolutely. Smashed it. 3 wins, 1,500 points.
Phenomenal. I mean, he's on fire, isn't he? You know what I mean? Dassos was on fire last year. Yeah. Good chance of winning it this year, I think. You know, however, I think Grant's going to probably give him a run for his money.
Grant's been training hard. And he likes to remind everybody he's a tough Scot as well. So
one of only 3 people to get 100 miles at World's Toughest Mudder last year as well.
Andy did it the year before, so the guy's got form for getting 100 miles at Worlds. He's now got 2 orange jackets. Yeah, I guarantee he'll be going for a third.
I think so too. Even with the changes at World's Toughest Mudder, I think he'll be going for a third. And I think that could potentially challenge that top title. He got 1,265 points last year. I also think going Infinity in Scotland this year, which we're going to come to as well, that's probably going to go into him because it's his own ground. He's going to do well on his home ground. It's where he gets his third racing with Grant. 2 tough mudders. Where's he going to go for the third? We will have to wait and see.
Watch
this space, exactly. You never know with Grant. He just rocks up. He doesn't shout about it, does he?
He doesn't know. He likes to keep things quiet. I do know a couple of the races he's going to, but I don't know if he's made it public and I wouldn't like to share his tactics, so I'll keep that one quiet.
And then third last year, Dave Peters, Rumble Racing, 1,253, only 12 points behind Grant.
And although the results haven't been published yet, I understand he got off to a flying start last weekend.
Winter Nuts, we do believe he's the only person to get 5 laps, did you say?
That's what I've been told by people who were there. As I said, the results have not officially been published, so we don't have the official results yet, but I understand he was the only person to do 5 laps.
Amazing start. It's Dave loves nuts. I know he loves nuts. I've seen him go around there. He floats across the top of the mud as he's going round nuts. So big shout out to him. and great start to Dave. Females, this is like, I want to say the females was very, very close for such a long time between Emma and Ruth, and then Ruth got injured and then she had to come back and things like that. But absolutely 3 top winners in three top races, sorry. Emma did 3 races, got 1,465, that's Emma Kirkwood. And second place, Ruth Battersea, and 1,344. They were the only 2 people that actually got 3 races in last year.
They were, but obviously Sancha this year, Scotland Infinity's in there, so that could be her 3rd event. I
think so too, and I think she might challenge. I know Sancha's been training quite heavily, and that I've seen that. So I'm going to think she's going to be right up there representing the Scottish OCR community, which is absolutely amazing.
I know Ruth still isn't back to full fitness as well. I know she won't mind me saying that. So how much she does OCR this year will remain to be seen.
Yes, very much so. Just want to quickly go through. There is one particular runner that I think could challenge quite well, which is Jamie Schofield. Now, he finished on 965 points, but only on 2 races. If he come in and did a 3rd race somewhere, you could see him pushing for that podium position. 965, when there's 500 available for a win, he goes somewhere, grabs a win where someone else doesn't. He's looking at 1,465, which would have put him right up there. It's only 250 points behind 4th place.
Easily achievable if he gets that 3rd race in.
Yeah, very much so. In the Masters men, Dassos won, which even bigger achievement is a Master, and he also won the overall, which is great. Chris Garcia in 2nd, and Simon Briggs from Primal Fitness in 3rd. So Chris Garcia runs for Team Atlas, Dassos Ganella, which runs for Nuclear this year.
You tend to find, if you look through the results, the Masters actually do really well in the Endurance League.
You're just saying that. You're trying to butter me up, aren't you? Because I'm Masters. I was quite pleased with mine last year. To say I never really raced well, I think in the Masters, I got about 8th or 9th. Let me just have a quick look.
8th with 940 points.
8th with 940 points. I only did 3 races, which was quite good. And I'm going to turn around and say my Tough Mudder Infinity race, I actually quit. I didn't do what I wanted to do. So I think I could have actually gone higher in the points wise, because I just quit after 2
Well, you've committed yourself now this year, aren't you? No quitting. Just need to keep pushing.
No quitting this year. That's official.
Don't care if your feet are bleeding, mate. Keep running.
World's Toughest Mudder will be that for me. Females, Masters, Ruth Battersea took the top spot, Sancha Martin in 2nd, Anita Kowalska in 3rd. Again, only 2 races there. So all to fight for in the Masters. Team event. So there's always a team event, and it's always quite challenging. Normally we see Nuclear races quite up there, but this year is quite surprising that Rumble Fitness,
they smashed
4,000. Yeah, 4,222. Only team to actually get 10 team members to actually race, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Well done to them. 2nd place, Primal Fitness, 2670. 3rd place, Team Atlas, 2409. And then 4th place, something called the UK OCR community.
No idea what they are.
No idea.
Never heard of them.
I don't even know who's in that team. I don't know who registered for that team.
You are.
I know I did. But thank you to... I want to see what it is now. I will find it. If I go into individuals, I should be able to see it pop up, shouldn't I? Somewhere?
You can see them pop up if you scroll through the teams.
Matthew Kirk. Thank you, Matt.
Oh, bless him. Good old Matt.
I like that, yeah. Me and Matt, quite good, actually. Yeah, 940 for me and 939 for Matt. So, big shout out to Matt there. Have we got any female runners? I don't think we've got any female runners. We need some female people joining our team. So if you're going to join us, register for UKOCR community team. We haven't got team shirts. We don't do anything. We just rock up and run as best we possible.
Just rock up and do your best.
Yes, exactly. So let's go to this year, Michelle. Where are we going? So we mentioned Winter Nuts, which happened last weekend.
Winter Nuts was our first race, kicking the season off. Our next one is in June, the 6th of June. We are going up beyond the wall to Tough Mudder Scotland for the Infinity there. And that will be our second race. Third race, which, as you say, we will come back to, is only a couple of weeks later on the 27th of June. That's for World's Toughest Mudder. So not a lot of recovery time between those two races. We then, again, quite close together for endurance races on the 18th of July. We come down to you, to Farmyard Jam. We've then got... Go on, sorry.
I was going to say, it's very close. The two 24-hour events in the calendar are
not
only
a lot of
3
recovery.
weeks apart.
Not a lot of recovery. And if you go back to Scotland Infinity, you've got, 6 weeks between those 3 races. So that's going to be tough for anybody who wants to do all 3 of those.
Choose wisely. In the immortal words of, what was it, Raiders of the Lost Ark? It was choose wisely, wasn't it, when he was the Cup? Do you not remember that film?
I do, but I was going to say, unless your name's Dassos, and then, just do them all in 3 weeks and you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's it,
yeah. After Farmyard, we then do have a nice gap for people to recover. We then don't have another race until the 26th of September, which is all the way down in Pippinford. And that's the British Ultra Champs, which are being hosted by Spartan. And again, we then have a nice gap for recovery. We've then got Nuclear Fallout Oblivion Max on the 7th of November, which will finish off our endurance series.
What an amazing choice of events. I'm just going to quickly touch on the last 2 there. Nuclear Fallout Oblivion, November 7th, just as the autumn's just going and winter's about to set in.
That's going to be a cold one.
That's going to be cold. We know
That's
Nuclear has got some tough obstacles. I'm just going to say tough obstacles. I'm not going to name more. They've got some tough obstacles down at Nuclear. That's going to be a real challenge for anyone who goes down to Nuclear. And it could be the season decider.
It could. I mean, obviously, we'll have to look what the table looks like at that point. But as we've discovered, those who go to the races can flip the table around depending on who's there and who's not.
Definitely. So 6 races.
Yep.
And you've got to do your best 3 count to your overall score.
That's right. Your best 3 finishing points will be your total score. So whether you run 6, whether you run 3, your top 3 will count.
Fantastic. Liking that. What happens if there's a draw?
Oh, you're questioning me now. So we've got it. Give me a minute. Let me find it. So there is a tiebreaker. So I can't find it. You've tested me. Can you see it?
Have you found it?
I have. Yeah. Apologies. You got me there, Alan. So, so the tiebreak will count for the top 10, and it will come down to, there's a series of them, but basically it will come down to points earned in head-to-head races. So where one or more competitors not using the results, they don't count for the purpose, but it'll be the number of first places. So if you've come first, you will more times than the person who's got the same amount of points, you'll be boosted up.
Cool. I do. It is very similar to UKOCR League, so I do know a little bit about it. It's races that you both scored points in. So if you both go to World's Toughest Mudder and you both score points there, it's whoever finishes.
Whoever came higher up the table. I didn't explain that very well, did I? So yeah, head-to-head races, it's whoever came higher in those races or the person who got the most first places. Yep.
And then I think it goes to first places after that.
Yeah.
And then I think it's points earned in racing, which compared to finishing top 3, and then it goes down to something else. And I think point 6, if after all this, it's the flip of a coin, which I love that. Flip of a coin.
But there are 6 other deciders above that. So the likelihood of it coming down to a coin flip is pretty rare. It's say head-to-head first, finishers first, whoever won the most in the head-to-head finishers, then the number of first places, then the number of points where they finished in the top 3. So yeah, there's a series of steps before we get to the coin toss.
Yeah, I like that the coin toss. I've always loved the coin toss though. It always comes down to a coin toss. When I know Ian did our rules for the UKOCR series and he put that in, and I was like, we can never have a coin toss. And you were like, we'll never have a coin toss.
We'll never get to that point.
Have one. Yeah.
Not when there's 5 deciding steps before it.
Yeah. Well, the day it does, I'm going to go and say to him, we've made a coin toss.
It's almost as though we need people to actually go out and intentionally do equal on everything so that they get the coin toss.
That's it. So there are a few changes this year. in terms of a few things. First of all, the categories, the men's and women's categories, the age groups have changed this year. So rather than go up in 5-year increments, to go up in a little bit bigger. First one is 18 to 34 years old, which is quite a big chunk. 35 to 44 years old, 45 to 49, 50 to 54, and 55 plus. That's right. So quite a big age group there. We've got, I think, are you taking away the masters? Because I know there is talk about the masters going, and we're just going to the age groups.
That's right. It's kind of one of those of when you, like I said earlier, that masters seem to do really, really well in the endurance league. So that's why those age bandings have moved, because age doesn't seem to be as much of a category as a deciding factor in this league as it can be in some of the others.
Yeah, I get that. And I think the UKOCL series is going to that as well. I think they're going to try and get them all in there. And the other one, we touched on a bit earlier, Michelle. So this is a controversial one, okay? Yeah. And I say controversial is because there's going to be bonus points at World's Toughest Mudder. So
there is.
People are going to turn around and say one race is harder than the other and so much and so much. I don't think any of these races are harder than any others. I think they're all tough in their own right. You've got to compete against the people that rock up.
They're all very different races.
Exactly. But World's Toughest Mudder, why are we giving bonus points at World's Toughest Mudder?
So one obvious reason is it's effectively a world championship. But that wasn't the deciding factor for us. We got feedback after last season that some people didn't feel that the points they earned at World's Toughest Mudder was reflective of the effort that they put in comparison to some of the other races. So we took that feedback on board and we went and did some calculations. I promise we didn't just make it up. There has been a lot of maths going to this in the background to see how the points scored were comparable against each other from other races. And it very much highlighted that there was a big disparity between how many points people were earning at World's Toughest Mudder versus other events for comparable distances. And obviously we need to have that to some extent because that's part of the tactics of these leagues, which dictate, people deciding what races they go into, is that you have got more potential to earn points at some events than you have others. But we felt it was too big a disparity at Worlds than what it was at some of the other events. And I know when we discussed this, I actually gave you a couple of examples using you as an example so that you could put it into perspective. So are you happy for me to use those examples?
Yes, we can use me as a guinea pig because I did find it quite interesting.
So if we look at what you scored at World's Toughest Mudder, so you did pretty well at Worlds. You ran 65 miles and you podiumed in your age group. And for those 65 miles, you scored 293 points, which is pretty decent. If we then compare that to what you did at Winter Nuts, you came 10th at Winter Nuts. And for coming 10th, you scored 350 points. So you actually did more miles over a longer period of time at World's Toughest Mudder, but you scored 57 less points than what you did at Winter Nuts. If we then go to compare that to Farmyard Jam, obviously you didn't run Farmyard Jam, but if we look at the lowest point scorer at Farmyard Jam, they effectively ran around about 28 miles. So you ran more than double what they did at World's Toughest Mudder. And they scored 365 points versus your 293. So there's a mass disparity over what people are scoring in other events versus what you would score at World's Toughest Mudder. So we kind of thought, maybe people have got a point. Maybe we need to do something to even this up a little bit. So we played around with point scores. We looked at what people scored on average per lap, the leaders, people further down, and we played around with different figures to see how that would impact points on the new system. And what we've settled on is that for every lap that is run, so it's a 5-ish mile lap because it's Tough Mudder, so it's five official miles, but how many it is actually remains to be seen. But for a 5-mile lap, the men will get 4 bonus points and the women will get 5. And if we look at that on that basis, you would then have scored 357 points at World's Toughest Mudder, which is still less. It's closer to what you scored at Nuts. It's a better reflection of what you scored at nuts and your ability to score points, but it's still less than what people are scoring, as an example, at Farmyard Jam.
And that was the point that interested me, because I did feel I ran better at World's Toughest Mud. It was my A race that year. I did use nuts more of as a training thing rather than going out and trying to run as fast as I could. It was more of a can I slog? Can I get that mindset of running on my own? I purposely went to nuts with the mindset I wanted to 4 laps purely on my own with no one around me. So I got that mindset of going to Worlds. So it was a training room for me, which reflected in my 350 points, And then I went to Worlds and I was amazed I did 65. Everyone said, if you do 50, you'll do well. I went 65. I could have potentially gone longer. But the points of 293, like you say, didn't really reflect the effort I put in. 357 probably would have, I'll be honest.
Much more reflective of the effort that you did, which is why we've settled on that point scoring system.
Yeah, I think the point scoring system, so the people have said to me, this point system is going to make you want to go to World's Toughest Mudder. I think it's the opposite.
Yeah.
I think it's the opposite. I'm going to turn around and put my neck on the line and turn around and say, if I work this out, I'm going to want to go to, I should have gone to Winter Nuts. If I was going to really heavily compete in the Endurance League, I should have gone to Winter Nuts, and I should go to Farmyard, and I should be going to Infinity, and I should be going down to Nuclear Oblivion. The world champion, the championship down at Spartan, people are going to want to go because it's the championship. You know what I mean? But it's not your best place to go and score points.
Absolutely,
because you're going up against the best of the best. And if you're
for anybody who doesn't understand the point scoring system at any of the league events, you don't score points based on where you finish as a boss member. You score points based on where you finish overall. So there might be 10 people who finish higher than you. Say, for example, you finish 10th and the 9 people above you are not boss members. It doesn't matter. You're not going to score points, 500 points, because you're the highest finishing boss member. You're still going to score points for being 10th. So when we start to get to things like Worlds and the European Champs, where we've got international athletes running, you're going to have a lot of people potentially finishing higher than you that aren't boss members and therefore don't score points, but they still impact how many points you get.
Yeah, and that's an absolutely cracking point. We know the guy who ran Farmyard last year travelled all the way from Spain to come and do the Farmyard. He couldn't score points. He could have scored points in the league if he joined British Obstacles, but he wasn't a member. He travelled just purely to do that. And I think he went to the Worlds as well, if I remember right, or he was going to go to the Worlds. So I like the fact that we are potentially giving bonus points at Worlds because it does reflect more of your ability. However, we do know that Worlds is £385, I think it currently is.
Yep, expensive race. It's an expensive way to get your points.
It is an expensive, and that's sort of what you're rewarding. You're going to pay that much money. You are rewarding it a little bit by giving extra points per lap. But I don't think that's going to mean it. So I mean, if you let's just take Grant for instance, and I'm just going to pull him up. He went to World's Toughest Mudder.
He did,
and he got the highest points at World's Toughest Mudder as a member, but he scored 415 points. Yep. I think he got third overall for the men. That's 415 points. If we did give him an extra 80 points for his mileage, it would have scored nearly the 500 points, which he would get for winning the event. 100 miles is an extra 80 points, so 495 he would have got. So yeah, it's so clear when you look at it like this, and it doesn't turn around and say, go to Worlds because you're going to get your bonus points because you're not getting nothing more.
Absolutely not. You're going to get a better reflection of what you're going to get at the smaller events, except, your really small events where you've got a really high point scoring chance. And like we said, it's an expensive race, so it's an expensive way to get your points. Unless, of course, you're last year's winner and then you've got free entry. So, if you do really well in the Endurance League this year, you could run Worlds free next year.
See, and that's great. I mean, you are going to see the likes of Dassos, you're going to see and Grant and everyone else who does really, really well in the UK going to Worlds next year. No matter what we turn around and say, I'd be surprised if we didn't see Dassos, Grant, Chris will probably go, Simon Briggs finishing 5th, Oliver Harvey, Valinda going. It wouldn't surprise me if all of them go. Maybe Gary Andrews and some of the fields slightly go down to Worlds.
Well, Gary's focusing on his ultras this year, so he's still undecided on Worlds this year. He's moving his focus to ultra running for a season, so we might not see Gary at as many of these events.
But you've only got to do 3, and that's the best part about this league. We talk about there's so many leagues at this moment in time, and everyone's saying we've got the UK OCR league, we've got the 3K, we've got the 100 meters, we've got so many leagues and competitions in the UK. We've missed off the Limitless Adaptive, the Endurance League, the Ninja Sports, the Sprint, the Scottish Series, the Spartan National Series, and the UK OCR Series. But you don't have to do all the events in them.
No.
The UK OCR Series is 3 this year. The Endurance League is 3 this year. I'm not sure what the 3K series is, but there's 6 events there. So I would imagine that's going to be your best 3 as well. Because
so you're only looking at 50% of the races that you need to be at and do well at to be up there.
Yeah, and if you look at the league and that, you can actually time this a little bit right. We just talked about the Endurance League there. We've got 3 massive events that are close together.
Yep.
Starting on June 6th, Tough Mudder Scotland, 27th, World's Toughest Mudder, July 18th, Farmyard. 3 events, all super close to each other. If you are cagey and careful, and I'm thinking like my game plan here, I'd be going Tough Mudder Scotland. I'd potentially be missing World's Toughest Mudder out and then do it Farmyard Jam because, I'm going to have that rest. I'm going to have that much bigger rest, So any of the people who are, I want to say from 5th place downwards, who are thinking about not doing World's Toughest Mudder, make sure you get yourself to Tough Mudder Scotland because
absolutely,
Grant will be there, but he's not going to be giving it 100% Grant because he knows that 2 weeks later he's travelling down to World's Toughest Mudder.
It will be a training event for him. He's obviously already got his elite status for World's Toughest Mudder, so unlike some people that'll be going to Infinity to try and get maybe contender or elite status, Grant doesn't need to do that. Grant doesn't really have a second gear at it. So, he's what we say going all out and what Grant thinks going all out will be completely different. But he's not got any need other than his own personal gain to go out there and completely blast that event.
Exactly. And, will Dassos go to Tough Mudder Scotland? I haven't reached out to him. Who knows? Will Emma Kirkwood go to Tough Mudder Scotland? Who knows? It's a long trip for them. It's a long
way to travel. And, Becky mentioned on Who's Hot that she's pitting at Worlds. So, who is she pitting for?
It did surprise me when she actually said that because I thought she'd be running it herself. I thought she might have stepped up to the mark, I'm going to say, and run it herself. But,
and that's obviously a factor. Das wasn't there last year because obviously it clashed with other events for the European champs.
Yeah.
So Das wasn't at Worlds last year. If he's there this year, will him and Grant push each other? And could we potentially see that all-elusive 125-mile bib go out for the first time ever?
Oh, how good would it be? I'm going to turn around and I hope we do see it. But I think with the slight changes that Tough Mudder's made, especially the one where we're going to have to do every obstacle twice.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, yeah.
But again, for the guys that are running for the likes of Grant and Das, who are running 100 miles, depending on how they do it tactically, they'll have earned enough bands for that to not matter. If they save all their bands for that last lap, they can just do a sprint lap with no obstacles.
Yeah. And if it happens like it did last year, and they start shutting the obstacles down in that last hour, we could see a point where we actually get another sprint lap or near enough.
We really could see a sprint lap, which will be mental at the end of 24 hours.
But that's what we got at Farmyard 2 years ago when we had
that will live with me forever. That will live with me forever. And I don't know what was better, seeing Das and Russ do that or seeing James try and rabbit them.
Oh, that was so funny that, you got two athletes. For anyone who's not seen it, you need to go on YouTube, guys. Look on UKOCR, Farmyard Jam 2024. After 23-hour racing, it came down to three individuals. Dassus Ganella, Russell Walsh, Kevin Dent. There was also a team there as well, the MyZone team, but it came down to three individuals. And for some reason, James volunteered to rabbit them live, and it was streamed live. And you got Das and Russ, who went and ran a 16-minute 5K.
I mean, that's just mental anyway, let alone at the end of 24 hours. That's just crazy. Especially when you consider that's with obstacles as well.
Yeah. And James had to take some of the shortcuts, which is quite lucky at Farmyard, because you can jump through trees to get back on the course as they come down the other side. But it was amazing to see them. And
it really was. But to see Worlds finish like that would just be unbelievable.
Yeah, sprint finish. That would be absolute quality. So I do know last year as well, in 2025, that they both went to Yorkshire, Tough Mudder Infinity.
They did. And ran very different tactics at that. Grant stuck more to the 5K loops, whereas Das went on the 15. And Grant said he regretted that later. So
yeah, so it's going to be very interesting what happens with them in all of these leagues. I think it's going to come down to the last two races of the season, whether we've got British OCR World Champs down at Spartan, London South in Pippinford. That's going to be a great event. We're going to get the best athletes down there. It could be a chance for Grant to go down. I would love to see Grant go down there and
would
take
be nice
part
to
in
see
it.
Grant go down.
Yeah.
A long way for him to travel, though, again. I mean, he's all the way up in the Highlands, isn't he? And that's really is southeast London, so that would be a long way for him to go. But I've seen him do dafter things.
Yeah. I would love to see Russell take part in it this year as well, in the men's side of things. I'm hoping that Ruth stays fit for the whole season. I understand that Winter Nuts that's just gone ahead, if my sources are correct, because as we're recording this, the results have not gone out, but we do believe that Lou Ferryman won the women's and Libby Joyce was second.
That's what I've heard on the grapevine.
That's what I understand as well. So I know Lou is a great ultra runner. I ran with Lou at Europe's Toughest Mudder a few years ago when it was in Yorkshire. She's a great ultra runner. So if Lou steps into the ultra market, we could see that making inroads. Emma,
that
Lou,
could shake up the table again.
Yeah, and I know Lib is into it. I know Lib is trying to go longer distances now as well. So she's
now old enough to do things like World's Toughest Mudder, whereas this is the first year Libby's been able to do anything like that. So it would be interesting to see how Libs gets on with things like that as well.
Very much so. We are going to see an absolute phenomenal endurance league this year. Michelle, thank you for coming on and explaining it to me and to our listeners.
Okay, no problem at all.
And good luck. And where will we see you next? Where are you racing next?
I will be... First time you'll see me taking part in event is Tough Mudder London West.
Ooh, very good.
The hills. I hate the hills. Sam tells me that we're going for contender status. She's apparently dragging me for contender status, but I have dodgy lungs, and my lungs do not like those hills. So we shall see.
If Sam gets into the Endurance League, she could do really well as well, because she just goes on forever. I've seen her run and she just goes and goes and goes and just never stops.
She does, and Sam's got some goals this year. She's apparently dragging me through some of those goals as well, so I'm not sure I like her goals as much as I do for her, because they apply to me as well, apparently. But yeah, Sam could do really well in her age group this year. She just needs to have a little bit more confidence in herself. She's been training hard.
Too right. Thank you very much, Michelle, for joining us. Listeners, if you want to follow it, go to British Obstacle Sports, which is britishobstacle.org, and just click on competitions, and then you want to go on to British Obstacle Sports Endurance League. In the meantime, I'll speak to you later. Thank you for joining me, Michelle.
Thanks for having me. Speak to you soon.
And thank you, and thank you for listening. Take care. Bye. Thank you for listening to the UKOCR podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening to our podcast today. If you like what we do, please think about joining our Patreon. It only costs £2 a month, and it goes to help supporting us to put these podcasts on. Or, if you fancy a one-off payment, just buy us a beer. The links to both are in the description. In the meantime, you stay safe and you keep on running, everyone, and I'm sure we'll see you on the course soon. Take care. Bye.
Craving the coffee flavor you love, but without the caffeine? Kachava's got you covered with their newest coffee flavor. This all-in-one nutrition shake delivers bold, authentic flavor, crafted from premium decaffeinated Brazilian beans. With 25 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, greens, and so much more. Treat yourself to the flavor and nutrition your body craves. Go to kachava.com and use code FITNESS. New customers get 15% off their first order. That's KACHAVA.com, code FITNESS.